Hello, everybody, and welcome to What Are We Talking About? Today, we're talking about X-Men Days of Future Past Rogue Cut. Just got this on Blu-ray. I gotta say, I love it. Like, I already loved the original Days of Future Past, the theatrical version. I saw it in theaters. I think I might have seen it maybe even a couple times in theaters when it came out. And it amazed me how, because I wasn't the biggest fan of X-Men First Class when it originally came out. Now I have grown to like it more and more, especially because of Days of Future Past, the character development of those younger actors. Like, it just kind of, when First Class came out, it kind of just bugged me that it was not going to be Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. Like, it was like the younger version of them. But then I get, like, I did like Michael Fassbender in First Class. He was great. Like, and Michael Fassbender again. What's his name? James McAvoy was also really good. I really didn't like Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique, and I felt like I still kind of am on the table about, on the fence about that, because I worry that with her being as big of a star that she is, that Mystique is going to be the front line, which, like, she was in she wasn't the main character in the first one, in First Class. She was pretty much what the entire story was about in X-Men Days of Future Past. But in the Rogue Cut, it wasn't as much about her. It still was pretty much all about her. She was the important thing, in the fact of she was the one who was going to, like, she was who they went back in time to stop. But in this movie, they changed. Well, they didn't change it. It basically just added, I don't know exactly how much footage, but quite a bit of, I think probably half an hour. And it's not all in one scene. It's spread out a little bit. And it just kind of adds a little bit of detail to the story. It there's an entire section where, in the future, Magneto and Iceman go to Charles's house because they're keeping Rogue kidnapped in Cerebro. And so there's a whole scene about that, and then they come back, and because in the, you know how in the original Wolverine freaks out when he sees Stryker, and then Kitty gets cut. And so in this version, in the Rogue Cut, Rogue basically has to replace Kitty, because otherwise Kitty, is about to die. So Rogue takes her place, steals her power, which, about that, the fact that one thing that kind of bugged me about the theatrical version, which I don't know, it probably didn't bug anybody else, was that Mystique was allegedly the reason for the Sentinels to be able to adapt to other people's powers. But Mystique doesn't have that ability. She only has the ability to change form aesthetically. And so the way that they explained it in the theatrical version was just Trask used her DNA and her, like, spinal fluid and, like, bone marrow and all this tissue of hers, and somehow using that and then extrapolating. Basically, that's the starting point. And then he extrapolated from there and was able to figure out how to adapt to other powers as well. That's kind of what they imply in the theatrical release. They don't actually ever say. It's just kind of like, because science. But that's it. But in the Rogue Cut, the fact that Rogue was kidnapped, it shows that she was kidnapped by Trask Industries or whoever's running the Sentinels in the future. it shows that she was kidnapped by them, meaning that that's how they got the power to change into, like, Mystique's ability showed them that they could change, but Rogue showed them that they could absorb and use the mutants' powers against them. That's why in one scene, one of the Sentinels grabs onto Colossus, and when he does, it might just be because he's squeezing and twisting, but it might be because he's absorbing the powers. And then Colossus kind of like strains, and then the Sentinel absorbs and becomes metal like him, and then punches his arm off and punches his head flat. That's in the very opening, I think. And so it's just kind of interesting. I like this version better, I would say, than the theatrical version, because it just explains everything a bit more. And I read or watched an interview with Bryan Singer, I think, and he talked about how the reason why they cut most of this out, or all of this out, the extra footage, is because having Kitty be replaced with Rogue, it kind of Kitty being injured and them running out of time and everything, it all combined was a more and more tense situation, and Kitty getting replaced with Rogue kind of alleviated some of that tension, making it so that the final battle isn't quite as dramatic. So they actually, I believe they actually went back and reshot a large number of scenes to make it so that Kitty was the one actually the whole time. But either way, it's a great movie. But I would say, if you haven't seen the Road Cut, definitely get it. It's great. I'm not good at rating stuff. I would say I don't even know. I love this movie. It's amazing. It's one of my all-time favorite comic book movies ever. Top 3 easily. It makes me more and more excited for X-Men Apocalypse, and the fact that Bryan Singer has never made a bad X-Men movie. X-Men 1, it changed what we knew about comic book movies. X-Men 2, it's still, to this day, I think my favorite X-Men movie. X-Men Days of Future Past, like I said, top 3 best superhero movies of all time. X-Men Apocalypse. I just am... We already saw what he did with Nightcrawler in X-Men 2. We saw what he did with Quicksilver in Days of Future Past. Those two scenes are some of the 2 best scenes in my opinion, that I've ever, the best scenes I've ever seen in a movie of all time. Best use of CGI. The Nightcrawler scene at the very start of X-Men 2 is the best opening scene of any movie ever. It's amazing. You don't expect it. It's a character that the general audience definitely hadn't seen before. That was a power that they didn't use. X-Men 1 was kind of a small film. They didn't have very many big effects. X-Men 2 took it to that next level where that instant that you turn on the movie, or you sit down in the theater and it starts playing, you're in the White House and there's this tour, and then Nightcrawler just teleporting everywhere. It's amazing. That scene, when you first see it, and even on repeat viewing, it blows your mind every time. Blows my mind, at least. And then when you get to the Days of Future Past, Bryan Singer films the scene with Quicksilver, with the slow-mo scene where in the room where the sprinklers are going off, and he puts on the headphones and the music is playing, and that is like one of my number one or number two favorite sequences in a movie of all time ever. Like I can't really think of very many things that are even comparable to watching that, especially on the big screen in 3D with the surround sound and everything. It's a mind-blowing experience, to say the least. And X-Men Apocalypse has both of those characters. Bryan Singer, it's a new actor. It's not Alan Cumming anymore. It's the young, Cody Smith McPhee, I believe is his name. The young actor that's playing Nightcrawler in this. He was in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. He was he was the kid in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. The kid with the bag that the monkeys gave him, brought back his bag. That was this kid. He's Nightcrawler. And Quicksilver is a Russell Peters or whatever his name is. I think it's Russell Peters. He's reprising his role as Quicksilver, and I'm so excited to watch this movie. Like, I can't even express. 2016 is going to be one of the best years for comic book movie. I think it will be the. I can't like. Okay, I'm pretty sure Civil War comes out 2016. Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, Deadpool, which, holy crap, I can't wait. Like, I think it's like 2 more weeks or a week and a half or something before we get to see the full HD Deadpool trailer, and I cannot wait. I just can't wait for that movie. I keep saying I can't wait, but honestly, Deadpool, behind Star Wars, Deadpool is my number one, so I guess it's my number 2. Star Wars. Number 1, Star Wars The Force Awakens. Number 2, Deadpool. And surprisingly, number 3, Batman v Superman. I mean, I guess it isn't really surprising. I haven't loved all DC movies. I don't like the old Superman movies, Richard Donner or whatever Superman movies, like the original ones with Christopher Reeves. Like, they're all right, but not my cup of tea. I used to really dislike Superman as a character. I like most of the Batman movies except for Batman, like Batman Forever, the one with Val Kilmer. It's alright for what it is. It's not great. Batman and Robin is just disgustingly bad. But Batman 89 is incredibly awesome. Batman Returns, I love Batman Returns. It's not like any other Batman movie. It's a Tim Burton movie for sure, but I like it. Danny DeVito as the Penguin, Christopher Walken as Max Schreck, and Michael Keaton reprising his role as Batman, and Bruce Wayne. It's great. It's not as good as the original one, but Jack Nicholson was born to play the Joker, so it's hard to follow that up. But Batman Begins, I enjoy. It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite of the 3. I would say it's my number 2 out of the Nolan trilogy. My favorite is, of course, Dark Knight, which clearly I think it's probably it's a toss up between whether I like that or the 89 Batman more. But then Dark Knight Rises, of course, is my third out of the trilogy. I don't like it as much as the others, but it's still good. But the thing is, DC hasn't impressed me so much as Marvel has. And so, but Man of Steel I loved. So Batman v Superman I'm looking forward to. But not the Gambit is also coming out, which is in the X-Men universe, and I think that they announced that he is not going to be an X-Men Apocalypse, but I don't know. I don't know what the time era this is going to take place in, but all I know is going back to the Days of Future Past Road Cut. I would have loved for this to have been the theatrical release. Like, I'd love to see this in a theater. It has a lot more sequences in the future, which I think, like, I love. Those are the characters that I grew up with as the X-Men, so I love them, those actors as those characters. But X-Men Days of Future Past is a great movie overall, either way. And the Rogue Cut is even better. So I would say watch it. But that's my thoughts on the X-Men Days of Future Past Rogue Cut. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. If you enjoyed it, click the like button. Follow us on @WhatWeTalkin', Instagram, Twitter. Email us whatwetalkingabouttoday@gmail.com. Let me know what you think down below. That's it. That's my thoughts. So, see y'all next time.